Hello, 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 beautiful people. How are you today? Today is episode 65 of Relax and Raunchy Relationship Podcast. Can you believe it's been 65 episodes since the beginning of lockdown 2020, where I started my podcast when I was feeling meh. Um, because of lockdown, my business was banned at the time. And then I know that a lot of other small business owners also suffering because they're not allowed to open. And therefore, I started my podcast to lift each other's up and spruik each other's businesses. So today is a very special edition simply because, as you can see, there's not just one person appearing, but there is two. There are two. They're a couple. And they are Sammi and Nathan. Fuel Collective is their business, was founded by wife and husband team Sammi and Nathan Jaeger after another wave of friends went through breakups and divorces. Oh dear. At the moment, yeah, there's a lot of those happening at the moment. And they realized that a lot of people are attempting to create their version of happily ever after without having a blueprint or key relationship skills. I guess you don't learn relationship skills in high school or primary school, isn't it? I wish they teach that. I wish, but they didn't. They went on to collaborate with experts and are creating a collective of people committed to adding fuel to their relationships. Love that. Now, a little bit about Nathan. Nathan is an electrical engineer by day, podcaster, and co-founder by night. He loves mountain biking, rock climbing, whiskey, and coffee, and he is an introvert. Oh, you will get along well with my husband. He is a coffee addict and he is an introvert. Now, Sammi, on the other hand, is an extrovert. I love the combination of this, polar opposite, introvert and extrovert, because they opposite attracts, right? Now, she is an entrepreneur who is borderline obsessed with how the quality of our relationships impact the quality of our lives. True that. She is an Audible addict who has traveled to more than 30 countries and is currently learning to surf. Together, they've been married since 2012 and host Date Forever podcast. Newsflash, I will be one of their guests where they chat to couples and experts about tips and tricks, and they found to keep a relationship fueled up. Very nice. Welcome, Sammi and Nat.
Hey, thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thanks so much.
So first question, I always ask my client, my podcast guests, your why. What is your why and why is it that you do what you do?
You want to take it or you want me to take it?
Yeah, so we mentioned a little bit of that in our intro. So it really started out quite a number of years ago when we were noticing a lot of our friends who were going through really horrible breakups and sometimes, like in some cases, divorce.
Yeah.
And so it really got us asking that question, like, where do you learn these relationship skills if you're not learning them at school? And especially if you're like in your family lives and things like that you haven't grown up with a healthy, happy, thriving relationship necessarily modeled to you.
Yes.
And I think if you haven't learned that from your home life, then where are you meant to learn it?
Yeah, definitely not at school, like you said, Ingrid.
I wish I teach that at school. Hopefully in the future, our kids in the future will be a bit more well-equipped or better equipped.
So we've gone on to found Fuel Collective, and the business is really like we're going for quad win. So the business needs to be a win for Nathan and I as the owners. It needs to be a win for our clients. It needs to be a win for our stakeholders and partners, and it needs to be a win for the world. So we're really using Fuel Collective as a vehicle for change, not just in our lives, but also in the lives of our clients and the lives of strangers and people that we'll never ever meet. So we've made a pledge and commitment to give 20% of our profits to education projects around the world, because we really do believe that better relationships will equal a better world.
I absolutely believe that as well. So we have the same values. That's what we get along well together.
Yeah, it's so cool. Hey, podcasters hanging out with podcasters.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely. Now, as a successful podcaster, what are your top 3 lessons that you have learned so far?
So our show's been running, we're at episode like 70-ish, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, mid-70s.
Yeah, and we just cracked our 10,000
Amazing.
downloads, which is amazing. But I think one of the big insights for me was a reflection that the conversations that we have in our day-to-day lives are pretty shallow. And we get the opportunity as podcast hosts to invite people onto our show to have conversations that are going to be broadcast with the world. And we go deep with people that we've never met. Whereas if we were, introduced to one another at a networking event or via friends, we probably wouldn't get to that depth of vulnerability in those conversations so quickly. Within 30 minutes of meeting someone, they're telling us about the deepest, darkest days of their relationship. So I think, the reflection that the quality of conversation that we have so much more scope to go deeper and have better quality conversations with people in our day-to-day lives.
Yeah.
And I think one of the other interesting things too is that like everybody does have a story to tell, and it's just a matter of kind of scratching the surface and actually digging a little bit deeper and asking some of the sort of more probing questions, and then this big story unravels, and everybody seems to have that.
You need to be that special detective.
Yeah, that's it.
Dig out your special detective skill.
Yeah, and then I would say that the third one is that Nathan and I are more interesting than we thought we were. We started the show with not thinking that we were very interesting at all, and that we were just going to create a space for our guests to share their story and their expertise and what they've learned. But so much of the feedback that we get is around us and people asking questions about our relationship, how we do things, our story, and how we've got there. So
wanting to hear more about us and hear more from us. So it's been a really
growing. Yeah, I found as a relationship coach as well, I keep growing simply because my clients obviously share their stories, right? And it's not that me teaching them something, they actually teaching me something as well. So it's win-win, they grow, they heal, and also I grow in my life and my relationship. So it's very good. Now, what do you find was the most useful form of training from your past that you still use until now?
Yeah, I think Nathan and I talked about this a little bit, and we kind of settled to share one that has been pretty profound for both of us. So we went for a shared one, and it's the concept of the 6 core human needs, which we both learned from Tony Robbins. And it's this idea that humans have these 6 core needs, and everybody has them, and they're just ordered in a different way for different people based on what we need more of. So the 6 are a level of certainty, that we need to feel secure about certain things in life, but then balanced with that, we need variety and difference and unique experiences. We need to feel significant and important. And on the flip side of that, we also need to feel love and connection to others. And then the bottom 2 are kind of these more spiritual needs around growth and contribution. So every person that you interact with has these 6 needs ranked in a different order. And when you really get to know your own and your partners, it can be incredibly insightful to get to know how they see the world and why certain things are important to them, why other things are not. And you can really take that connection to a different level, because you can understand why someone's behaving a certain way, or why they did something, or why they didn't do something, and really understand what it needs with a behavior or an action, what need they're trying to get met.
Amazing. That's great. Very, very insightful. And we did mention about growth before. So it's one of the essential needs that we have.
And it's very unlikely that in a relationship that you and your partner are both going to have the same top 2 needs. So that's always going to be interesting.
So I guess as an example of that, like money could be and security around money could be a really high need for someone, that they need to have a certain amount of savings in the bank or something like that. And so it's probably that certainty is a really like high value for that person, that they need to feel like they've got this security blanket essentially there of money in the bank, so that if something is to happen, that they are secure.
Whereas other people don't have that certainty need at all and are happy to have $100 in the bank and I'll figure it out.
And maxed out credit cards. Yeah.
And just go with the flow, so they say. And it's interesting, Nath, when what you're sharing, it just triggered my memory of arranged marriage, simply because parents, especially in India and other parts of the world, or maybe in the previous generation, try to really match, the future wife or husband of their kids, simply because they want to make sure that their kids will be secure in their family life moving forward. So there you go. Financial security for many are very important.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's cool. Now, getting deeper now, what was your most challenging moment in marriage and how did you overcome that? Because you've been married for some time now. And how did you overcome that? Because everybody must go through something.
Yeah, we've had some good ones.
If good is the right word.
Yeah, we've had some challenging moments for sure. And like you said, we are coming up on our 9th wedding anniversary very soon.
Yeah.
And we are, for context, we're both in our very early 30s still. So I don't think we've met too many people who are early 30s and are approaching a decade of marriage. But our most challenging moment, I would say, came up probably about 4 years ago now. And I had been on an incredibly rapid growth trajectory, personally, professionally, as me as a human being, in my roles as friend, professional, daughter, sibling, colleague, leader, and wife. And I'd been in an environment where I was being exposed to a lot of ideas and content and new ways of looking at things and doing things. And I had grown really, really fast in a period of 3 years. I feel like I did probably at least a decade's worth of growth. The person that I was at the beginning of that 3 years, the end of the 3 years, like hugely transformational.
Just fully immersed.
Immersed. And on the flip side of that, Nath was not going through that growth stage. Nath was in the same workplace, hanging out with the same people, doing very similar things from the beginning of that 3 years to the end of that 3 years. And the way that was kind of showing up in our relationship was that I was in boss mode and I was taking the lead on everything in our relationship. And I was driving our social life. I was driving our, the functionality of our household. I was driving the relationships with our friends and our network and our wider circle. I was bringing all of the variety. I was bringing all of the dates. I was bringing all of the, let's go on this adventure and do all these things. And I'd got to a point where I'd very specifically asked Nath to step up over a long weekend. And I said, I really don't care what we do. I need you to step up here and take the lead and play a role in this relationship. And it got to the Friday afternoon of this long weekend. And I approached Nath and was like, so what are we doing? What's the plan?
Of course.
And I had nothing.
Nothing.
I hadn't organized anything. I basically got stuck in my own head about making this decision and not wanting to make the wrong decision, that I just didn't make a decision at all. And I think that was very reflective of my life in general, in that I was not wanting to make the wrong decision, not willing to fail essentially. And so I was just not making any decisions and just kind of cruising through life, not actually driving my own life in the direction that I wanted it to go in. And so what I kind of realized out of that whole
situation
situation was that
we can laugh about it now.
But it was really that I was missing out on amazing things in my own life because I wasn't actually deciding that I I wanted to go out with friends. I wasn't deciding anything really, and so I was missing out on all of those highs because I was kind of scared of failing or scared of missing out on or losing something.
But what I can see though, because you're two very different people, perhaps Sammi is teaching you on how to embrace and making decision, because making decision is very, very powerful tool, or you can say superpower, you know, making quick decision and the right decision. You rely on your instinct, etc. But then Sammi also can learn from Nath how to be cool with whatever that we have, embrace we have this and try to enjoy life as it is. So I guess finding the balance in the middle is very, very important, isn't it?
Yeah, I think one of the things that came out of that particular situation was we then went on to do things like some personality tests and assessment. And one of the things that came up that was abundantly clear was Nate's introvert at 80% and I'm extrovert at 80%. So for me, it's like, I'm happy to do the extrovert things and drive the things and make the social things 80% of the time, but I need you to use that 20% sometimes.
It doesn't need to be an even split in that decision making and things like that. But I need to do something. I need to, I need to be doing something.
Not looking for transactional, but we definitely have a really beautiful Nath mellows me out and I get Nath out of the house.
I bet lockdown will be just your cup of tea, Nath.
I'm itching to get out as well now.
Oh yeah.
I can
say
understand.
That. But like the first 8-9 weeks, he was chill. He was just so like, oh yeah, this is where
great. Yeah.
Because it is good to lead when we are a natural born leader. I can relate to you, Sammi, totally. But sometimes it is draining. It is tiring to lead all the time. So sometimes, yes, I totally understand that you need to ask your partner to step up. Sometimes it's very healthy. Yeah.
But it also just highlights those 6 core human needs. Like Nate's got higher certainty needs than I do, and I've got higher variety needs, and I want more interesting new things happening more of the time. So it's interesting because we have that language and we have that framework that we can understand each other a little better.
That's great. You have the same foundation. That's very good. Yes. So now when you see a couple facing difficulties, as you just discussed, your own challenges, what advice can you give them?
Yeah. One of the methodologies that we've developed in Fuel Collective is this idea that we all have these 8 different tanks, and at any one time, any tank could be really running full. It could be full to the brim, or it could be running empty. So I think one of the best pieces of advice that we can give to couples who are in pain or things aren't meeting their expectations is to go back and assess the root cause. Which one of those tanks, which one of the things that is going on in your life is really the core, is where the problems are coming from? Is it your relationship with yourself? Is it your romantic relationship? Is it that you're spending too much time or not enough time with your outside network? Is it the wealth or lifestyle part? Is it the career and business? Is it that you're actually just not very connected to the world and your contribution and your why? Or is it that you've got no plan for the future and you're both going in different directions? So if you can bring it back and figure out which one of those tanks needs the most urgent fuel now, you can kind of appease it. And the end of the game, or the name of the game, is not to get all tanks full all of the time, but that you've got the right ones that you need, well over that halfway point.
Right, because people feel a certain need at certain time, not all the time. That's why it's good to discern which one that I need to prioritize first.
Because if everything's a priority, nothing's a priority. So sometimes you do need to choose.
And I think the other interesting thing with this too is that so we have a diagnostic quiz that people can go and do. It's at fuelcollective.com.au/fueled up quiz. But the interesting thing you can do is do this quiz individually, and then compare which tanks are high and low, because really it's that disparity. So if somebody thinks that their household is humming along really well and the other partner thinks, nah, this is terrible, we're always way behind the 8 ball, there's always a big pile of washing and all sorts of stuff going on in our house. And I think it's that disparity that then can actually trigger the conversation to start making some change, because one person thinks it's great, other person thinks it's terrible. There's clearly
it's the gap you want to address.
It's the gap that you want to address.
Whereas if you both think it's shit and it's okay being shit for the next little bit, it's not really a problem.
Yes, we need to make a decision to change when you see there is something that really needs to be changed.
Yeah.
That's it.
But another piece of advice would definitely be go back to basics of an interdependent relationship. You know, the two of you existed as human beings before this relationship, and it's really important that you continue to have that relationship with yourself. You know, our show is called Date Forever, and that really is about dating yourself and your significant other. So that's about really knowing yourself and getting to know yourself in a really intimate way. But then on the other side of that, being really kind to yourself. And sometimes that kindness is the warm fuzzy, but other times it's about exercising self-discipline for what you know is actually the right thing to do for yourself.
Yes, that's right. Oh, very wise. I love it so far, guys. Thank you so much for sharing all the knowledge and wisdom. Now, people, we get to the fun part of the podcast, which is guessing true and false statement. Now, Sammi and Nath gave me 2 statements. They once got busted by the police while they were naked in the back of a car. Ooh, juicy. Second one, they have joined the Mile High Club. Oh my God. You naughty, naughty kids. What have you been doing? Now, people, which one? Ooh, which one is correct? Which one is incorrect? I will say probably 1 is correct. I don't know. It sounds juicier. Can I go by that?
You're right. We did get busted by the police.
What's the story behind that?
So I think at this point in our relationship, it was reasonably early on, but I think we were working in different places at the time, and so we had gone out to dinner or something and just caught up, and then we decided to go to a lookout, a romantic lookout.
A romantic lookout.
Yeah.
A romantic parking space.
Yeah.
Yes, and I think that we were at this lookout. It's very late at night.
Yeah.
Probably what Nathan didn't say was that we had 2 cars, so we had driven to the
lookout independently.
Yes. And then we had jumped
and
into one of the cars.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think to the cops that looked very suspicious. Like, why are there these 2 random cars
in the middle of the night?
In the middle of the night, in a country town on a lookout. So we had a little like tap, tap, tap on the window and a torch shining through the back seat. So yeah, there was a very quick scramble to cover up the bits that needed to be covered up.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Oh. And then I believe that you have some true and false statements.
Yes. So did Ingrid give Mel B, aka Scary Spice, a variety of spa treatments? Or true or false, Ingrid gave Mel B's bodyguard a manzillion?
Oh.
I really want it to be number 2.
I was going to go with number 1.
I really hope that you gave a manzillion to.
Yeah, let's
Which
go
one?
number 2.
All right.
Let's go
Number 2. Okay,
Yeah.
so you are incorrect.
Oh no!
I thought the first one was more likely, but I really wanted it to be number 2.
Because my background was in 5-star hotel day spas. I'm a spa therapist for 22 years now and relationship coach for 12 years. So back then, I used to do some celebrities or VIP people, and then one of them was Mel B. So she came to have manicure and pedicure, various spa treatments, and she was actually pretty cool. A bit snobby to begin with, but then, when we warmed up and she opened up about her daughter or whatnot, so she was actually quite nice.
I need to know what era of Scary Spice Mel B was this? Like, what year are we talking?
I think they're already broken up. Being Spice Girls, so they already broke up being Spice Girls, but she continues to be famous and doing other things.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And in regards to statement number 2, there's partly correct, which is the Menzilian part, because I actually do or specialize in Menzilian. There's not that many spa therapists willing to do that, but yeah,
you need a new supplier.
That's one of my specialties that not that many people want to do, but that's all right. Penis is penis, right? So
you can charge a premium, Ingrid. Charge a premium for that. Supply and demand.
Supply and demand.
Yeah.
Well, it's a body part. To me, it's a body part, and so just do it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it looks much better after you're done.
Yes, definitely. Depends on your preference. If you like forest looking kind, well, up to you. If you want nice and clean, it's up to you.
Personal preference. It would be boring if we were all the same.
That's right. So last question, guys. What do you do to either relax or add raunchiness into your relationship?
We do a few things. I'll start with probably like the most clinical of them, and then we can warm it up. We talk about sex on our weekly check-in. So we have a weekly check-in with our relationship every week. We normally do it on a Sunday afternoon, evening, as we kind of prepare for the week. But yeah, we talk about sex, what we're liking, what we're not, how we're feeling about our body, what's our kind of expectations for sex. Are we meeting them? What do we want to try? Like, we talk about it a lot.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, and very open about it. Flowing on from that, we do have a reoccurring sex appointment. So Sunday night you will not be able to get hold of either of us. Occupied. And that's not something that, I don't know, it happened very organically, and now it's kind of something that we both look forward to. And it's just a dedicated part of our week that we know we're going to connect. And then the other times throughout the week are kind of bonuses.
Very good.
So
yes, that's
it is kind of nice. It is kind of nice though, because it does build the anticipation, and you can kind of get nice and clean and and
go
do your grooming
for
and everything.
Menzilian.
Menzilian.
Get ready for the occasion.
Wonderful. That's great. Simply because, a lot of couples in long-term relationship, sometimes things just, become cold because they don't schedule it in, it's not a prioritized anymore because they have so many different competing priorities. So, you are a great example of putting what's important on top, not all the time, not like you schedule in sex twice a day, every day.
I don't think we have the stamina.
You're not 17 anymore. Not when you went to get moved out. Not anymore.
We still have adventures.
Thank you so much, guys, for coming and sharing, your deepest with me here and with my audience and your audience as well. So if you want to connect more with Sammi and Nathan, so how can they connect with you?
The best way is come and listen to our show. So we host the Date Forever podcast on all the podcasting platforms, or our website, fuelcollective.com.au. Like Nath mentioned, I really recommend going and checking out that quiz. It gives you a really great snapshot of where your relationship is at right now and what might need some loving. It asks some questions that maybe you haven't thought of. So fuelcollective.com.au/fueled-up-quiz. And reach us on all the socials. I'm on Instagram as Sammi somewhere. Nath, you will not find on Instagram. He's there, but he's not really there.
He's too introverted to be there.
Yeah. I am there, but very
He's a lurker.
yeah, that's it.
Okay. Not a problem. And people, if you want to have a free chat with me in regards to your relationship and relationship issues or relaxation, you can go to my website, www.kayangan.com.au. In fact, you can see the spelling. I know it's a challenging spelling just behind me there, so you can't get it wrong. And request a free chat with me, and we can talk, and let's see if relationship coaching is a good relationship for us moving forward. So there you go. Thank you so much for coming. Beautiful couple. I love you guys very, very much, and looking forward to be on your podcast very, very soon.
Yeah, it's dropping. Episode's dropping really soon.
Oh,
so
yay.
I look forward to sharing it with everyone.
Awesome. Keep well and lots of love.
Bye.
Bye.